Hey guys, what's up? I'm Jack with Sioux Falls Dent Repair, coming to you with another common question I've gotten asked. I've actually had two vehicles come in the past 2 days that have hail damage on them that the customers actually purchased with the hail damage already in it. So the one being a little bit older vehicle had hail damage on it, and the latest one, that was one that came in this morning. The one that came in yesterday was a newer 2017, 18, something like that. I believe it was a Hyundai or Kia. Anyways, it's kind of irrelevant, but the vehicles come in with hail damage on them. So a lot of times people will call up, sometimes they get my number off of YouTube, off Instagram, Facebook, anything like that, and I'll get calls from Texas, Colorado, everything like that. But people will call and go, hey, I'm looking at buying this vehicle for hail damage, but I want to get a hail damage estimate repair, a hail damage repair estimate before I buy it, so that way I have an idea as far as what it's going to cost. Or they purchase the vehicle and go, oh, I've already purchased it, I'd like to see about getting the dents fixed in it now. Basically, to put it the long story short, basically, if you're looking at purchasing a vehicle with hail damage, probably not always. I have to be very kind of cautious here, but most of the time, if you purchase a vehicle with hail damage, it will not be cost effective for you to pay out of pocket to have it fixed. Now people go, oh, well, why is that? It's fine. I got the money. They gave me X amount off. They gave me $800 off. They gave me $1,000 off, whatever it is. Or sometimes it's even several $1,000s off. The reason why that's still not a cost-effective solution is it's never covering the cost of what it actually what it actually costs to fix the damage in the car. So, for example, the vehicle that came in this morning, it was an older vehicle, about 15 years old, roughly. Chevy Equinox, and the customer got 800. They talked to the car lot that they bought the vehicle from, and the car lot, so the salesperson that's selling them the vehicle is telling them, oh yeah, it'll be $800 to $1,000 to fix all this hail damage on it. No big deal. We'll give you that off the car, and you can go about your merry way and everything like that, which sounds great to a customer. Some people are going, well, then I can, choose to fix it or not. Then I got $800 to $1,000 in my pocket, no big deal, whatever. I don't really care. But they call up and they end up bringing the vehicle down and having us look at it, and the vehicle has several $1,000s in damage. So, and just the few panels that they were specifically targeting and wanting us to look at had well over that amount of damage, well over the $800 to $1,000 in damage in it. So we kind of hate to be the bearer of bad news, essentially, but that's what it ended up being. And I kind of brought up a lot of this on the phone with the customer and told them, this is a general case, that it's normally not cost effective because, quite frankly, you probably didn't save enough on the cost of buying the vehicle to fix the hail damage on it. It just doesn't make sense. Like, you're not going to spend $5,000 on a car, get $1,000 off, and put $5,000, $4,000 into it to have the hail damage fixed. It's going to be dang near the price of the car. Well, there's a reason why the vehicle is that much to fix. And why the dealer lot has it and they're selling it cheaper. It's because it's considered a total loss. It was deemed a total loss probably by the insurance company originally. In both cases, on both cars that I looked at, and this generally is the case, that's what it is. The cars were deemed total losses. So what that means is when it's deemed a total loss by the insurance company, so say your car gets hit with hail damage, say you got for easy numbers, you got a $10,000 car. Okay, depending on the vehicle and the value of the vehicle at like a auction lot or a resale lot, for instance. So this is before the dealer gets it. This is the auction that they're selling it. What they'll end up doing is totaling out the vehicle or deeming it a total loss if it's anywhere between 50 to about 70% of the vehicle's value. If it's a vehicle with a higher resale value, so typically what that ends up being is something like a Toyota or a Honda vehicle, for instance. So that just kind of gives you an idea. Sorry to turn the heater off before it kicks on. So, so like I said, so going back to that, so you got a $10,000 car. It's deemed a total loss and it's sent to auction. It's got a conservative 50% to all the way up to at least, and they could go higher. I mean, it could be over the vehicle's value. So it could have $12,000 in hail damage and the truck's only worth 10. We personally have looked at multiple cars this year alone from the Rapid City hailstorm, where I looked at a Honda Fit. I think the car was worth about I think the customer ended up giving like $9,400 or something like that, but let's just say $8,000 to $9,000. It had $14,000 in hail damage. It's almost double what the vehicle's worth. So obviously that was not a feasible repair decision for the insurance company. And we ended up deeming it well, we didn't deem it a total loss because that's what the insurance company does, but we write up paperwork and have an estimate and provide all the information and documentation for the insurance company to determine that it was a total loss. So next question is people will go, okay, well, I want to buy a car with hail damage on it, varying levels of damage. Let's just say it's even a reasonable medium amount of damage, which a lot of people would go, oh, yeah, so that's probably $800 to $1,000. That's not the case. Generally, a medium damaged, hail damaged vehicle, personally from our experience of seeing so many cars over the years, generally seems to be about that $3,000 to maybe $5,000, something like that, maybe $3,000 to $6,000. Let's say that's kind of a general rule of thumb, unless it's extreme hail, which is higher, and extremely less damage. So the next statement I made to the customer that purchased the older vehicle and got the $800 to $1,000 off, I told them most people, if they had a legitimate $800 to $1,000 in hail damage on it, they probably would never even file a claim, because quite frankly, they'd look around the car, walking around, let's say just general person, walking across the car in the parking lot, not gonna notice the damage. You pull it in your garage when you get home and you look at it with your garage lights or something like that, and you look at it and you go, oh, I can see a couple flickers, but it's 3-4 dents, I really don't care, whatever, I'm not even gonna file a claim. That's the type of cars that typically have $800 to $1,000 in damage. It's very, very minimal, and it's not saying that the damage isn't there, but a lot of times you can't see the full extent of the damage. So people, again, will point out a handful of dents and see, oh, I see 3 to 5 dents, and the hood's actually got 30 on it. We see it all the time. People call in, they need hail damage estimates and stuff like that all the time, and they'll call up and they'll go, yeah, I was involved in that storm, I got 6 dents over the whole car, how much to fix it? That's not a realistic estimate, and not a real, it's nothing against the customer or anything like that. They just physically can't see it. So when they bring the vehicle into us, we clean the vehicle completely off. If it's dirty, necessarily overly dirty or anything like that, we obviously ask them to please run it through a car wash prior to bringing it over. And then we clean off the panels what we can to see it, and we inspect it with a paintless dent repair light. And I've got other videos on YouTube about all this and stuff like that, and Instagram, showing the difference of with and without a paintless dent repair light. So there's multiple times cars will come to us where, again, like I said, the customer thinks they have a handful of dents and they've got $3,000 in hail damage, $5,000 in hail damage. Typically, when you're getting into the higher numbers, obviously, it's a lot more extreme damage. But like I said, that $800 to $1,000, most people probably wouldn't even mess with it or even really care, quite frankly. And there's nothing wrong. I mean, it is what it is. That's all up to the consumer, whatever they want to do. But that's just a very good point as far as just kind of setting the tone. So in a bigger hail damage repair claim, so something that's, let's say a car that needs, every panel needs to be worked on generally, and hood's coming off, headliner's being lowered down. If it's got a lift gate or a latch assembly that raises up in the back, we're taking that assembly off. A trunk lid's coming off on a car. Typically tail lights, headlights, front and or rear bumper. Sometimes, depending on how the headlights are mounted, a lot of times headlights, in order to come out, they have to pull the front bumper. We have to. And taillights, on some of the cars, you have to actually pull the rear bumper assembly off in order to pull the taillights off. I know it sounds terrible. That's how the designers make it. That's not up to me. So it's a very unfortunate thing, but obviously, as you would imagine, there's more labor involved there. Your general rule of thumb for a car that needs just your basic R&I is what we call it. So it's called remove. R&I is remove and install. So remove the parts and put them back on. R&R is remove and replace. So that would be where we put a new part on. So just to simply take the vehicle apart, like I said, trunk lid, pulling the hood off, pulling the hood pad, the trunk trim, the quarter panel trims in order to get access to the taillight bolts to pull the taillights out. If we've got to pull any type of belt molding, the top chrome trim or black trim that's at the bottom of the window, but right where the door frame, the top of the door frame is, if that's got to come off for access, if we have to pull any type of mirrors for access, because sometimes they do get in the way. We're not necessarily pulling it because we're accessing a hole through a mirror or anything like that, but the mirror will obstruct our path of view for the repair. Your general rule of thumb is just to take a car apart. Let's say it's an $8,000 hail damage repair. That's going to generally cost, on the low end, $500 to $800 would be a pretty safe number. If we've got to pull the back pickup glass on a pickup truck in order to gain access from the back view. So from the bed, we'd sit up in the bed and actually fix the roof of the car. Right there alone, that's about $250. So if you've got a pickup truck with roof damage that's even semi-significant or severe, you're looking at a $250 bill just to have a glass company come out, cut the glass out, take it out, set it aside, have us do repairs, and glue it back in. That's not taking the headliner down to fix anything. That's not fixing any dents. That's nothing. So hopefully that gives you an idea as far as make your own decision on it. If you feel like you're going to drive the car, so kind of circling around here. If you feel like you're going to buy a hail damage car and you're going to get some savings on the front end, and you're just going to drive it. Maybe the car's a very new car, which that's a perfect example or perfect candidate for this. Maybe you say you're buying a newer vehicle for your kid to go to school. It looks like a golf ball or has a whole bunch of dents in it, and quite frankly, whatever. If I was a kid at high school age or college age and got a brand new car or a very new car and had dents all over, I quite frankly wouldn't care because I'd be like happy that I got a new car. Am I right? Anyways, so if you're looking at buying the hail damage vehicle to just drive it and not fix anything, probably a reasonable investment. If you're going to drive it until basically essentially the wheels fall off, or you're going to drive it for 10, 15 years, yeah, that's probably not a bad idea. You save a little money on the front end. Hopefully it's enough to make it worthwhile. But if you're looking at buying a hail damage vehicle to like fix it or to flip it and resell it, it's typically not a very a good basically idea as far as cost effectiveness. There's a reason why PDR technicians or dent repair technicians like myself don't go to the auctions and buy cars with hail damage and fix them on our downtime and let's say the winter time or whatever. There's a reason why we don't do that. There's a reason why I don't have cars lined up out of the shop here and in the shop here that I'm fixing with hail damage that I bought at the auction, because it's not cost effective. Okay, and I can do the labor on my own time. So just put that into perspective. Anyways, not to ramble anyways, I just figured I'd fill you guys in on a little bit of information here tonight. If you learned anything on the video, hit the like button, subscribe or follow us on Instagram, subscribe on YouTube, all that kind of stuff. Follow us on all the social platforms. We appreciate it heavily. If you've got any questions about anything I talked about here, go ahead and leave it down in the comments section, or you can call or text us at 605-250-1023. We'd be happy to chat with you a little bit more, or get you scheduled in for maybe a free hail damage repair assessment or door ding repair. Anyways, thanks again, guys. We'll see you guys on the next one. Have a good night.